guys, your island girl is back with another one for you today. And today I am reacting to 5 ways living in the UK 4 plus years has completely changed me. Growth and life lessons. And I'm getting this one from Mac and Blair Adventures. Please go over and show them some love. They have some amazing content on their channel. I've reacted to a few of them and I've also checked out some on the side. And I love the way that they share their video from their perspective as American who have moved to the UK and they're loving it. And I live vicariously through them through some of their videos. So the link for them will be in the description below. So please don't forget to go over and tell them the Island Girl sent you. We're going to get right into this one. I know I'm yapping. I want to see the difference between when they just got there and now 4 years into living in the UK. So here we go right about now.
Hi, I hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful afternoon. I'm finishing up with a little bit of gardening. I got some indoor gardening. I'm planting some cactus seeds here. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk about how I feel as though my life has changed in the 4+ years that I've been living here in the UK. Again, the family and I, Blair and our 6 kids, 4 kids at the time. We've had twins over here. We moved to the UK in 2020. And so we've been living here for a little while. And I want to talk about that experience and what I feel like that's been like for me to be here. So not talking about the family so much. This is going to be really just my experience. This is Mac's experience and how this has felt for me. First, a lot less stress. Now, that can be a lot of different reasons leading to a lot less stress. But first, let me take you back to what it was like before I moved over here. I lived south of Washington, D.C., had a really great home there. But I worked 65 miles away. So it was a 65-mile one-way trip. And then on the way back, 65 miles back home. That commute was just absolutely miserable. I think it was close to 2 hours one way each day. I was spending so much time on the highway. I learned a lot because I was listening to a lot of audiobooks to kind of help me cover that time. I used to talk to my mom on the phone a lot during that period, but that was every single day, a tremendous amount of wear and tear on my body and on my vehicles. That's not the case here now. I think my commute now is 15 minutes. So that was tremendous for reducing stress overall, just that highway driving stress. You know what? I've grown to enjoy driving here in the UK. When you drive according to the speed limit, there are cameras all over the place tracking everything. But you know what? Never been pulled over by a police officer because in general, the cops here aren't patrolling the highways to pull you over for speeding. If you're doing something outrageous, of course, you will get pulled over. But that's not necessarily the practice here. So can you imagine 5 years not being pulled over for a cop? Even just normal speeding violations or normal things like that. So this just hasn't happened, reducing the stress level. Of course, you know that the UK in general has less crime than the United States. And you want to go look up the statistics, feel free, go Google it, check that out. You can check out the statistics. I'm not here to talk about the statistics.
Asking celebrity businessman how to get out of debt.
Are you wasting thousands of dollars paying off debts you don't actually have to pay? I've been helping people get out of debt for decades. And I know everyone's experience with debt is different, which also means the solution to your debt problem may be completely different from someone else's. And while most people don't
statistics, I'm here to just talk about what I think has led to me being a less stressed individual. And so stress will kill you, right? Stress can be really dangerous and detrimental to your long-term health. And I won't say that my health has been perfect the whole time I've been living here, but I have really felt a lot less stress as an individual just being here and existing in this space. It's been a wonderful location for me and the family here over these last few years. And I think it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. So a lot less stress. Tied into that less stress, let's go to number 2, because
So, guys, he's not the only one that I've heard this from expat leaving the US and moving to the UK. That's one thing that's always on their lips, coming out of their mouth. It is less stress. I'm not fearful. It's more relaxed. Not saying that you don't have your little problems or anything that when you move from one place to the next, but certain things you don't have to worry about. And stress kills. It's the truth. Stress kills. Less stress. Who would want less stress? I definitely would want less stress, and I guarantee a lot of people will confirm that yes, if I have less stress, life would be a little bit better for me. So can you imagine commuting 65 miles one way, 60 miles, spending 4 hours on the road away from family? You understand? It takes a wear and tear on your body, and like he said, on his vehicle. But now he's just 15 minutes away. The way that he drives, he's showing, and it looks just amazing and peaceful. So let's hear number two.
Less stress is one. Let's move on to number two. Number two is I have a greater appreciation for walkable spaces and outdoor space. Of course, I did a video on the channel a couple of years ago where I was talking about those walk paths, those hiking paths across the UK that you could just walk across anyone's land, and you follow those trails all across the place, everywhere. Those hiking paths, walking paths, that's just wonderful. So I've experienced a lot of walking paths, but I love the fact that the cities here are also walkable. We did a lot of videos on the channel where we go to a city, park the car, or go to a town, park the car, get out, and just go walk around the city center. I love exploring the city center. There's typically a cathedral there. There's some good food around there. There's a bit of shopping, local wares. So I love driving around the UK, finding a new city and exploring the city center. One of my favorites is going to be Lincoln. I mean, I love Lincoln. I love going to Lincoln. I haven't been in a little while. The last time I was there was a couple years ago. I think it was for the last Christmas market that they had, which they haven't had one of those. They stopped doing that. But I went to the Christmas market there. But aside from going to Christmas market, we would go to Lincoln a couple summers ago. We spent a lot of time up there. I think we went there like 2 or 3 weekends in a row just to enjoy the open space, walking around the city center, walking up the steep hill, heading to the cathedral. Lincoln is one of my favorite cities. Of course, I love Liverpool. Don't get me started on naming all the cities that I enjoy. But I enjoy a lot of the cities. I enjoy a lot of the towns. I love how walkable those city centers are. Again, drive there, park the car, and spend the rest of the day on foot, just exploring the space. Now, more recently, in the last year or so, we've left the city centers a little bit, and we're getting more in touch with the natural environment. And I love the natural environment, the woods that are here, the streams, the lakes, the valleys. If we spend time over on Anglesey, if you've ever been to Anglesey, it is a beautiful place to go, and you can really explore Anglesey, get out, do a lot of walking. We went down into Dorset. I did a little bit hiking down in Dorset, walking, hiking. Pretty soon here, I'm going to head over to the Peak District. Want to wait till it warms up a little bit, do a bit of hiking there. So I'm getting into hiking, and the landscape here is absolutely beautiful. Last year, we went up to Scotland, and we were up in the Highlands, and you want to talk about just breathtaking landscapes, just open vistas all around you on all sides, just absolutely beautiful. So there are so many places here that you can go, and it's naturally just so beautiful. So I love the forest. I love the beaches. I love all of the natural environment. I think is really wonderful. And I'm talking everywhere. We're talking Scotland. We're talking Wales. We're talking England. We're talking Northern Ireland. All right, we went to the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland a few years back. So we've had some wonderful trips and experiences. And that, I think, has gone back to number one, lowered my stress level, and definitely gave me a greater appreciation for what it means to exist in this space and just kind of walk around and have a good time. And I've done this with the family. And of course, being a family man, that has also been a wonderful experience to get out there with Blair. We have the kids. You know, most recently we were out on the beach. We were kind of digging for some fossils, and you know, that was a lot of fun. Just that fresh air coming off the ocean, and I'm enjoying that open, natural space, that open environment. That's one, and that's two. Let's get you number three.
Oh my word! I cannot get over his footpath video. And I was in awe when I saw it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I did not realize that there in the UK, you can roam private property. You can roam, go through the path. And I'm like, that's just amazing. And that's one thing I realize about you guys. Everything is walkable majority of the time within whatever parameters you are, within the city, within whatever neighborhoods you are. Things are walkable, and the UK is made for that. And yes, not to mention the outdoor, the scenery in the countryside. And yes, I've seen his video about Scotland and Wales, and I'm like, oh my word. Like I said, go over and check it out. He is so right on that. And if you're in an environment like that, you're definitely going to be a little more stress-free. So the appreciation for walking about and exploring and knowing where you are, yeah, he's spot on with that. Love it.
And I think number three is going to be patience. I've learned patience in my time being here. One thing that's always said about the British is that the Brits enjoy queues. And I've learned to appreciate being in a good queue, being in a good line. I call it a line still. In my head, I say line. I know I say queue because I'm in the UK. When in Rome, right? I'm trying to fit in. I say queue. But in my head, I grew up. It's a line. But
Yeah.
I've learned to appreciate that. The lines typically move forward. The queues are moving. You stand there patient. The fact of the matter is, I've almost never had a situation to where you're in a queue and someone would rudely come up and break the queue to try to just jump in front. I want to go first, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's queue here, go to the back, take your time, wait your turn. And so that teaches patience. I've had to kind of get a bit patient in that way. I have noted that the roads are a little different here, that the distances and how the roads are made typically means that if I'm traveling a distance, it'll take a little longer to get there than in the U.S. The U.S. has more straight roads. Here, the roundabouts, which are great because you don't have to come to a complete stop. But I find that over time, it adds a little bit more time to get to locations. Not a complaint, not complaining at all. It just goes towards that patience. And it's just something you have to kind of learn to appreciate. Now, that could also be a factor of age. Gets a little older. I'm getting a little older. And so I'm learning to be a little more patient as I get older. Again, a family man, I have kids. And you definitely have to learn to be patient when you have kids, right?
True.
Kids are going to challenge you
Yeah.
in so many different ways. And Blair and I, we deal with a lot of different challenges from my kids, but that also leads to patience. And I think the environment of being here also contributes to the patience aspect of it. To have two kids born here in this country, they're American citizens, right? So no questions about that. Blair and I both American. Our children are American. But I just think that it's so cool to have children who were born outside of the U.S. and they were actually born here. And that was such a wonderful experience. And everything worked out so well through that pregnancy. Again, I'm a little older. Blair's a little older.
Yeah.
This was our 5th and 6th child, right? We'd already had 4. And to go through that whole pregnancy and to do it outside of our home country was challenging. But to be honest with you, if we're going to be outside of the U.S., I don't think there's any place that we could have been that would have been better for us. We had a great experience here, working with the NHS, working with other hospitals, just kind of doing everything we need to do to be able to give birth to our twins and then to have them growing up here. And it's just been great. I've really enjoyed that. So we talked about less stress. We talked about a greater appreciation for outdoor spaces, green spaces, city centers, walkable cities. We talked about patience, kind of in line with that. I really appreciate what I would call.
Man, I love his temperament. I like how he explains stuff and how he seems very humble to me. And this one hits patience. And I realized that, like he said, you guys call it queue, we call it line. He's familiar with the term line because, that's our way of saying the queue. But I really appreciate that. And something like that, to me, learning to join the queue, it does help you to exercise patience because coming from America where people don't care about that, they cut line, they think it's about them and they feel so entitled. And I can see where patience comes in when you got to stand in line. There's no fussing, you just wait your turn. And yes, having kids, that also, because you deal with kids, every different kids are 10 kids, 10 different personality. It helps you, it humbles you. So patience is important. And based on what he said, having the experience to deal with the NHS and everything and all of that, it just adds to changing who he is over the past 4 years living there in the UK. Let's move on to number 4.
Called the compact geography.
Mm.
Now, the United States has some really great locations and some really great sites. I'm talking about Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the sequoias, the redwoods, the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And so many other wonderful locations across the U.S., Mount Rushmore. Those places are vastly far apart from each other, right?
Yep.
If you wanted to go and see them all at one time, they're so far apart. We actually did that when I was a kid. So my dad would pack us all in a car and we would literally spend 2 to 3 weeks on the road, just driving across the U.S. in the summer. So we had one trip we call our Great Western Excursion, and we went up and we, up into South Dakota. We went to saw around Mount Rushmore and the Badlands and Sequoias, Redwoods, came down Highway 101. Just this big,
Wow.
massive loop. But that took weeks. And it was a great trip, a great experience. I mean, I would not want to do it in a car now with my family. That had to do that in something like an RV. That would be a great trip to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm getting back to here is that the UK has such diverse geography, but in a
In close
compact
proximity.
space. So you can go to Wales, and I could be there in like 3 hours in Wales. I could also be in Cornwall in about 3 hours, and about 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours, I could be in Scotland. And the geography in each one of those locations, the culture in each one of those locations is different. The culture is a little different. The vibe's a little different. What
Yeah.
you see is a little bit different. And there's so many other places that you could go to within a few hours, and you just get such a different feeling. You can get that in the US, but those spaces are just much further apart, and it just takes longer unless you're jumping on a plane to fly. I'm a driver. I love to drive, and I understand that the UK has tremendous access to public transit, right? Now, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of great public transit here, but I'm a driver. Just, I guess it's an American thing. I grew up in the country, and when I was 15 years old, I had my first vehicle, and I've been driving ever since. So I enjoy driving. It's kind of a thing that kind of lowers that stress level for me, especially when you can drive here. Because you hit these back roads sometimes, those little narrow
Man, it's so
lanes,
narrow.
and the leaves, and not the leaves, but the branches are all closing in. The hedges are closing in. It's a little
Wow.
scary, but it's also so fun to drive down those old tracks like that. Know that those roads have a long, centuries long history from when they were first created. And
Yeah.
I guess I also appreciate that the history that's here when you go into cathedrals. And the United States doesn't have that as long a
No.
history as some of the architecture here. We were on Anglesey, and I think we went to see the oldest windmill, I think in Anglesey. I don't know if it's the oldest
Ooh.
windmill in England, but the windmill was built in 1775
Wow.
and completed, I think, in 1776. I think the U.S. came into being in 1776. And drop down in the comments, let me know if I'm wrong. And I pray I'm not wrong. I should definitely have that point right. But 1776. And we're in a windmill, and we were talking to the miller, right? We were talking to him, and he was talking about it. And he says, hey, this windmill was built at the same year your nation became an independent country. And it
Wow.
was just kind of standing around. I was like, wow. And to be in a structure that has that connectivity in time, right? Not in space, but in time,
Yeah.
connected in time to the US. I thought that was such a cool experience. So we've been in places that are much older here as well. I love going down to Stonehenge. I've done that for summer solstice. And that's a couple of videos on the channel. Go check that out, where I go to Stonehenge and I'll spend the night out there for the summer solstice celebration. And to think about how
Man.
old Stonehenge is, and the fact that they moved those stones from so far away.
Yeah.
There's just so much history here, right? And there's a lot of culture here as well. So if you appreciate those things the way I do, you would enjoy coming to the UK, I think, for a vacation.
Yeah.
So that compact geography, even when I'm talking about going to Stonehenge, it's not that far away. Within a few hours, I could be in Stonehenge. And some of those great locations back in the US just would take me so much longer to
Yeah.
get to. So I appreciate the fact that geography is more compact, but also diverse. It's not compact and exactly the same in all those different locations. It's compact and diverse. So I really appreciate that as well. I want to talk a bit about
Man, he just gets me all excited for when I do visit. Because he is right. The appreciation for compact geography. Because like he said, here in the US, it's not easy to get to point A to point B in a short space of time. But there he said, listen, 2 hours I can get here to another area in the UK, and the diversity within the space, even though it's so in close proximity, there's so many different there's the diversity is just amazing, and there's so much to see, and there's so much to do, and so much to experience within that space of when he showed the windmill and Stonehenge. I was like, oh my word, that area view was just, I'm also remarkable just looking at it, and then to know that before America got its independence, you understand? So the windmill was there before America even became amazing. Amazing. So can you imagine driving, pulling up, looking at, you can think about who have been here, who have walked this walk, and now you're here experiencing it as a family or even by yourself. To me, it's amazing. Like he said, there's an amazing geography here in the US as well, different places to visit, but the history is not as rich as what you guys have in the UK. And moving from point A, from Scotland to Wales to Northern Ireland, it's just amazing. It's just amazing, man.
About number 5 for me. So compact geography is number 4.
Yeah.
Let's talk about number 5. And I feel as though I become a bit of a foodie here in the UK. And I know the UK is notorious for not having great food. That's what people say. The food's not good.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the food. Like I've grown to like it. I mean, when I first got here, and I think I ate a burger. It was a beef burger, right? And it did not taste good to me. And now we go and we purchase beef burgers all the time, and we eat them, and they all taste great. I actually have the inverse problem. Before, when I moved over here, I was a huge fan of Chick-fil-A. Was my favorite place to eat back in the U.S. is Chick-fil-A. And I've gone back to the U.S. for trips and travel a couple times, and I've eaten Chick-fil-A, and it didn't
Doesn't
quite
hit the
have
same.
that same taste to me anymore.
Yep.
I was like, oh, my taste buds have shifted, right? But that makes sense. I've
Yeah.
literally been living here for over 4 years. So it makes sense that my taste buds have shifted. Blair and I, we go shopping 3-4 times a week, and it's because we're going and we're buying things as we need it. We want those fresh ingredients, and we go and we buy purchase those fresh ingredients. So it's a cycle of shopping that's very different than what we did in the U.S. In the U.S., we may go shopping once a week, once every couple of weeks. Here, we may go 2-3 times a week because we're going to get some fresh bread. We're going to get some fresh cheeses. We're going to get fresh meats. I love the fact that here, the way everything is labeled, it doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it. So if you buy it and it says best by date or use by date,
Better.
I mean, it really means it. So we go and we buy ham, we buy different sandwich meats and things of that sort. And you don't have a lot of preservatives in it, and it says it has to be eaten by a certain date. You're only going to get a few slices in there. They're not giving you as much in the package. You're not paying as much, but you're also not getting as much. So you're going to eat it quickly, and then you have to go back quickly to the store to buy more.
Wow.
Once you get up used to that cycle, it's not so bad, and you're getting fresh ingredients.
Yep.
And the twins are in love with raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, but mostly raspberries. And raspberries, they really don't last long, right? They don't hold long in a refrigerator. Well, one, the kids are eating them almost as fast as you can put them out. They're shoving them in their mouths. But two, they really don't hold very long. So you only get like 2 or 3 days with those raspberries. And so every few days, we're going back to the grocery store and we're picking up some nice fresh fruit. And it's more seasonal, I feel, as well. And that's something that is really, you have to get used to it, right? So you go to a grocery store and they always have watermelons, or they always have bananas. They always have these fruits that you'll enjoy year round. All the fruits right there. That fruit got shipped from all over the world. And sometimes it's great to eat fruit with a seasonality, meaning in the local area that you live in, the fruit is fresh, it's seasonal, tastes the best to eat it that way. So in a lot of cases, we're eating British only type fruits. In some cases, things are shipped in. I don't have a problem with that per se. I'm just saying I appreciate the seasonality of the fruit. I appreciate the freshness of the meats. I have grown to love British bacon. And if you don't know, then you just don't know. But, you open up a pack of U.S. bacon, it's all greasy. You open a pack of British bacon, it's dry, smoked, cured, uncured. I just find that I enjoy that taste so much better.
Interesting.
Of course, the cheeses, one of the best burgers, beef burgers that I ever had. There's two. One was in Paris, and I may get this cheese wrong, but I think it's raclette. Raclette. I think it's like a raclette. And it's just this ooey gooey cheese, and they just kind of melted it onto the burger. And that was delicious. Another time that I've had a really phenomenal burger was when I had a Stilton burger, which Stilton is a type of blue cheese. And we had a Stilton burger, and it was like a bacon burger with Stilton cheese. Oh my God, that was delicious. And so I think I've become a bit of a foodie while living here. And I think that's something that I've come to really enjoy. I mean, I enjoyed food back in the US, and there's some great foods in the US,
Yeah.
but I think you can miss some of that freshness unless you're going to certain stores. Like you can miss that. And I've appreciated that. I've also grown to really love a lot of different types of cheeses here. So the cheese drawer is always full with different types of cheeses as we're trying new things, and we're really appreciating those opportunities to kind of dig into those really fresh ingredients. That's one of the things that I really appreciate here. That's 5. But you know,
Guys, I gotta be honest, because when you hear about the UK, you hear their food is not good. And I've come to realize that is not the case. And here he is. I've become a foodie. He was a foodie before. When he got to the UK, he's more of a foodie. And he's right. When it comes on to America, being in the US, it's more about quality, it's more about quantity and not quality. When you see them dates on that thing that say eat by, a lot of people don't watch that date. Something that I've noticed here a lot. They're like, oh, it says eat by the 5th, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and it's still in somebody's wish. Even months later, they're like, no, it's still good. They're just saying it needs to come off the shelf by that time. I'm like, hey, you guys crazy or what? So I get what he's saying, but I know that you guys have a variety of food. And yes, your guys' things don't have a lot of additives, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, when they do try the food in the UK, they'll tend to say, oh, it's bland or it's not this and it don't hit well on my palate. You're getting freshness. You're getting, and then funny enough, he talked about bacon. I did a video, I will put it right here, about the difference between US bacon and UK bacon, and I didn't realize yours is the back part more meat than its actual fat, belly. So yeah, I've never had bacon, but I hear people say, you guys say, listen, this is the way to go with bacon. You get more of it. It's not a crunch up and crispy. It's, so he's right. And freshness, fruits are, they get shipped in from so many different places, and it's not as fresh. It gets stale easily, and by the time you get them in your home, they're rotten because they've been there. They got a ship there. You understand? They've been on the shelf for so long. The bread is not fresh. So, like he said, here in America, you go to the supermarket, you shop for a whole month when you go, or 2 weeks. There, every other day or every 2, a couple times for a week, because you're getting fresh stuff. I can appreciate something like that. So yeah.
you know what? Let me give you number 6. Let me jump in here with one more thing
Okay.
that I really feel has changed. And it's kind of this. You can see around me, the gardening and stuff. And that's just because that you have here the Royal Horticultural Society here in the UK, and you have what is the preeminent botanical garden in all the world, hands down, which is Kew Garden, which is in London. And I've been to Kew a couple of times, and it is absolutely phenomenal. But there are just so many great gardens and Royal Horticultural Gardens, Botanical Gardens, Birmingham Botanical Garden. I got my card just the other day. I went and got a year pass to the Birmingham Botanical Garden just the other day, and I was there over the weekend. And it's just a great experience to go out to the Botanical Garden. This nice little plant here. I need to water it, but I just have grown over the last few years to just, I feel more peaceful. I feel more at peace. And that's something that I think is, you can't beat it with a stick.
No.
Right? If you can find a place where you feel that you can exist, and you're less stressed, you feel as though you have a greater appreciation for your natural world around you, if you have more patience, you appreciate the travel,
Yeah.
and has some foods that you enjoy, get those fresh ingredients. Then I come home, I do a lot of cooking. I do the majority of the cooking here, guys. I don't know if you know that. I do a majority of the cooking, especially in the summer, with a lot of the grilling. But if you could find a place like that where you can exist and you can be, then I suggest you be. I suggest you exist in that environment as long as you possibly can, and just enjoy it. And if you're not in a place like that for yourself, then maybe you want to try to figure out what you need to do, what steps you may want to take to try to get to a place that you think you could enjoy. Life is long, But my dad used to say, life is also short. Another way he used to say it is, life is short, but if you make bad decisions, life can be really long. My dad had a lot of different witticisms and things of that sort that he used to throw out all the time. So, hey, those are my 5. I think I gave you 6, which is, I appreciate all the gardens that are available. Those are my 5 things and the 5 ways that I feel that I've changed in the last 4+ years of living here in the UK. Drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you're here in the UK, what you like about living in the UK. And if you're in the US, what do you like about the US? If you're somewhere else in the world, what do you like about where you are? Right. And I think that there should be an appreciation about existing where you are. For wherever you are, there should be some appreciation for where you are. But drop down in the comments. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you
love this video from him. I like the update. And he's right. There should be an appreciation for where you are or what the space that you're in for the time being until you're able to change it. And he said, look, the outdoors, the botanical gardens, he has grown to appreciate that as well. But all the points that he has made thus far, it's amazing. The walkability, the appreciation for traveling, even the narrow roads that he's going in, the compact. Listen to me, even losing my words. The proximity between getting from one place to the next, close proximity, and the diversity between the two places is just amazing. And food, exploring different foods and enjoying the freshness and basking in history. Listen, it's just amazing to be stressed, have to have less stress in your life. Things like that, everybody and anybody would want that in their lives. And if they don't have that, seek that out. Because like I said, life is short, but to me, life can be very long based on how you live it. Beautiful, beautiful video. Enjoyed every minute of it. I will be, as you know, keep checking out his content because I really do enjoy looking at him and Blair, even if he's by himself, explaining stuff and showing round and about, and I'm here living vicariously through them pretty much. It's your island girl and I'm running out of here. Be good, be kind, be safe out there, love each other. Don't forget to do something that will give you a little laugh or a little joy in your life. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. Give this one a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and your girl will definitely catch it in another video. If there's anything else that you'd like me to check out, guys, go ahead and write it in the comment section or drop the link. I am more than happy to check it out. If you'd like to become a member to the channel, the link is in the description below. There's also a PO box in the description below. If you'd like to send anything our way, we'll truly appreciate it. Love you guys. Bye.